For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabeans, to a people far off, for Yahweh hath spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Yahweh also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But Yahweh will be the hope of his people, and the strength of the children of Israel. So shall ye know that I am Yahweh your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come forth of the house of Yahweh, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for Yahweh dwelleth in Zion.
Okay, so it really is happening. This is it. This is it. Gold, at the time of making this video, hit $5,230 spot price. You might be thinking to yourself, that doesn't matter to me. And I would say to that, it does, because it underlies every financial transaction you make. It is the foundation of the financial paradigm that we currently find ourselves in. And it also signals that a major war is coming. This is due to hoarding and stockpiling. upside down. Now, according to the International Bulletin for Atomic Scientists, they claim that we are 85 seconds to midnight. Now, this is arguably very subjective and arbitrary that they decide to draw the line there. I think they're being very optimistic, and I've always thought that's a bit of a psychological operation, because if you ask me, considering we were at 2 minutes back in, 2022, before the war started, and we've pretty much had, like, wars flaring up on every continent at this point, that should be more like 15 seconds, close to midnight. I know what constitutes a second, but there you have it, okay? I mean, they're telling people. They don't want to panic people. That's the thing. They want to make sure they balance their geopolitical interests using these international institutes and things of that nature. But nonetheless, there it is, okay? If you wanted the official scientific prognosis, 85 seconds, 84 seconds.
Now's your chance to bet with me or against me on the big game, only on Fanatic Sportsbook.
Oh my God, this tastes so good. You guys hit it out the park.
Well, thank you. It's because it's different. It's fermented.
Did I mention Tomahawk missiles are moving to Germany next month? Nuclear-capable Tomahawk missiles. Yeah. 84 seconds to midnight. I don't think so. I don't think so. See ya. Slaves, like the rest of us. And so these are just more tokens, right, for the government to borrow more money, more collateral. We are all debt collateral. I think that something is about to go down in Iran. I can't say it's going to be this weekend, but if these Epstein documents are any reflection, then they absolutely are. Somebody is trying to get what they want. And usually what the elites want is war and bloodshed and the further concentration of wealth into fewer and fewer people. And they're going to continue with this extortion racket to get what they want. And it looks like what they want is for Trump to declare all-out war. I'm not just talking about, limited strikes or covert action. Full-scale ground invasion, occupation, Iran. Well, how are they going to do it, Nate? How have they done it throughout history? They're going to have a military draft. People think it's impossible that they're going to have a military draft? Are you kidding me? They got the Turning Points thing going on. They got Pete Hegseth up there doing push-ups. They got to make it cool, right? They're going to show all the fancy, cool tech that you can use. There are going to be cool commercials coming out. I predicted this a long time ago. This is what they're going to do. And, of course, they've gotten people accustomed to seeing people kidnapped in the streets by masked thugs, just like they do in Ukraine. So when the commissars come and collect you, and you're screaming and kicking, people are just going to think, oh, there goes another guy. And if all those protesters that were out there to try to, stop them before, and whether you agree with them or not, there might not be protesters come that time. And then if you try to avoid it, they'll call you a draft dodger, as if your name was Donald Trump or something, or every other president who dodged the draft for that matter. That's what's coming, man. So, yeah, I wouldn't sweat this big swing. I know it's crazy to say.
Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Ba, Racha HaKodash, Kol Thapa Arath, Hawad Wahaloyim, Ratwatum Yatla, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shaba, Racha HaKodash. And what I just said in the Lashon Kodash being the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, or in other words, the true biblical Hebrew for holy tongue or language. And what I just said is, all glory, honor, and praises abundantly and continuously to our power, Yahweh, the true name of our Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly and incorrectly calls God, in the name of His only begotten Son, our Savior, our Messiah, our Deliverer, Yahweh Shai, HaMashiach, who the world ignorantly and incorrectly calls Jesus Christ, in, or in other words, through the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and respect to the brothers teaching and pushing this truth out the four corners of the earth, to the hopeful elect, the 144,000 and the 1/3, as well as the rest of the elect scattered abroad amongst the heathen nations to the four corners of the earth, east, north, south, and west. To you I say, Shalom. This is your brother Ra'ib Tazadakwa coming back at you again, all through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, with another lesson Yahweh Ratazah, Yahweh willing, is going to be edifying and encouraging for you Achim, brothers, and any Achwath, sisters, that may be listening and or watching. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the front matter out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and give a fair use disclaimer. I played 2 clips. Fair use is allowed under U.S. law for educational, commentary, criticism purposes, and the like. That's, of course, what we're using these clips for, not profiting from them in any way, shape, fashion, or form. I'm going to go ahead and give credit to the originator of the material right now. The first one is alert. Let me bring it up. Alert. Metals bloodbath, right? Because there was a pullback today, and gold dropped back down less than 5,000 an ounce. It had gotten up either right at or right just shy of 5,600, or it might have actually cleared 5,600. So, and then it pulled back today, and that's what you would expect as it continues to run up. You would expect that, okay? Given everything that's going on, when similar, it's going to be worse now and more dramatic now than any other time. But other times in history, when things in other locations as well, when things like this, economic collapse has happened, that's similar to this, but less so, much less so, because it's going to be much worse this time. But in other times it's been similar. You always have this high volatility where the run up won't be just straight and linear. It'll run up in a saw blade kind of fashion, you know. So it'll run up and then it'll pull back, but it'll pull back to something that's much higher than it used to be, and then it'll run up even higher than it was before and pull back to something probably higher than that, you know, if you get the idea what I'm saying. So this is to be expected. Okay, if you don't know what time it is and you don't know what to look for and what to expect, then you might be totally baffled. You might be confused. You don't know what's going on. But this is what's going to happen. Okay. Alert: metals bloodbath. Epstein just started WW3. Government shutdown. Impeachment. Panic selling. All right. And this is again Prepper News. That's the YouTube page. And let's get the other one as well. And I'm just gonna slack it for the flipping. No other way to do this. Alert, we're in a lot of trouble. Just got some news, Prepper News. And I've been featuring that clip right there, the one that I just read the title for. I've been featuring that one for the past like several, what is this? I forgot to check. I think this is part 7. So for the past, I want to say like 2 or 3 at least parts, 2 or 3 parts, I've been featuring that one. And then before that, I was featuring another clip that we're not quite done with yet, but I guess we can be done with it because I got another clip to replace it. So when we get done with Nate here, as he's crashed the end time biblical prophecies and end of the world party, he's crashed it because I wasn't originally, and he's caused this lesson series to grow because I wasn't originally rather going to be getting into any of his clips. I was just going to be focusing on the clip that I already had because it was plenty there. And then you know, Nate crashed the party, and now he's crashing the party with a second video, and we're just going to get it all, man, because this is what it's all about. Okay, we, as it is written, you know, we're occupied in prophecy, and the testimony of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, Revelation 19:10, is the spirit of prophecy. So I mean, and it's all about the end time biblical prophecies, man. So I mean, we're just going to get it. We got other lesson series that are going, and they're on pause, and we'll go back and get them. And there's a lot of prophecy in them too. Everything, prophecy everywhere. Okay, that's what it's all about, man. Okay, and so anyway, we're gonna get this one here because what got this video, the one here you see, alert metals in bloodbath. Epstein just started the one that I featured second. What got that one featured is that he talked about the draft. Okay, that's what got that one featured. Okay, more end time biblical prophecy. All right, and it's end time biblical prophecy is everywhere, and it's so much going on. It's impossible. It's impossible. I remember when I first woke up to the truth. I mean, you know, you might get 1 or 2 things along the course of the day as you're watching news clips and you're watching other brothers. You might be 1 or 2 things that the spirit really prompted you and moved you, and you felt your juices flowing to really sink your teeth into and do a lesson on it. Okay, now it's practically everything, and of course you can't do 20 lessons in a day, 10 lessons in a day. Okay, you know, at least now if they're gonna, you know, and I mean, I guess if you're gonna do quick hits, but even then, you know, so it's so much going on, you can't get everything. And basically, you're greedy. You know, you're trying to, you know, your eyes see more than your belly can hold. In other words, your spirit wants to do more than you have the time to do. And so you just got to pick and choose because it's so much happening because we're at the end. That's why. So now, I gave the fair use disclaimer. Fair use is allowed. Fair use notice is given. Fair use is allowed. Now, this here is part 7. Let me bring it up now. Okay, let's bring it up. Here it is. Part 7. Yes, part 6 was last night. So this is part 7 and an ongoing lesson series. All right. And you might say, well, where's the rest of them? It's part 7. Well, it started off as live streams. So here's the first 3. Okay. And really the first 2 are really just one lesson. The live stream was broken. That's why it was, so short on the first part, right? It's actually, that was recorded at the same time. And then you got part 3, which is actually the second lesson. And so you got those there because this is all one big lesson. It's all connected, okay? You can listen to the parts individually, but if you really want to get the whole picture, you would go back and check out the various parts as well. Then you got part 4, 5, 6, and tonight is 7, End Time Biblical Prophecies and the End of the World. We interrupt this program due to End Time Biblical Prophecies and the End of the World. Tonight is part 7, okay? Now, like I said, Nate here has crashed the party with a second video because he talked about the draft. We're not done with that. We're not done with Nate's first video because we were going to be getting into Joel the 2nd chapter tonight, which was subject to time. I mean, you know, we just had to see how the Spirit flows. My intention, I think, there's a decent, solid chance we'll get into that tonight, but maybe it's a little less than a decent, solid chance because you know, Joel 3, I'm going to try not to spend a lot of time in that. That's a lot of end-time biblical prophecy in that, a ton of end-time biblical prophecy, but I just wanted to get a couple things, so we'll see if I'm successful touching on a couple of things and getting out of there. If I am, then we may get to Joel 2. If I'm not, and I get stuck and I get into other things and the Spirit takes me other places, well, then we'll get Joel 2 some other time. Probably tomorrow on a live stream, because I'm probably going to continue to go into this lesson series in the live stream tomorrow, okay? Because the Spirit is on me to really push this lesson series right here, okay? So he mentioned, I'm going to play it again. He mentioned the draft, and that's coming. I'm actually mildly surprised that it hasn't happened already, okay? Very good chance. All right, let me deal with this here for a second.
Rest of us.
Very good chance it'll happen this year. Okay, don't know that for sure, but I'm like, if I was mildly surprised it didn't happen last year, I'll be significantly surprised it doesn't happen this year. Okay, and if it doesn't happen this year, if it doesn't happen next year, now I'm starting to get blown away. I mean, it can't go that much longer. Okay, so we don't know the actual, we don't know, you know, dates and things like that. We don't know, but we know it's that close. It's that close. Like I said, I'm mildly surprised it hasn't happened already, and I'll be significantly surprised if it doesn't happen this year, and I'll be like flabbergasted if it doesn't happen next year. Okay, for real though. All right, so let's let him say this again, and we're going to get into that Joel 3 before we do, because I want to point out a couple of things that's not. It's all end-time biblical prophecy. Some of it's stuff that's been fulfilled already, but the majority of it is end-time biblical prophecy, and I want to touch on a couple of things before we get into the draft in Joel 3. So up here, I'm just going to touch on it, right? For verse 1, for behold, in those days and in that time, what time? What days? When I shall, the last times, the last days, the end times. You say what days? The last days. You say what time? The end times. When I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. In other words, the whole entire nation of Israel. What does it mean to bring again the captivity? It means the captivity is referring to the captive Israelites, which we are yet this day in the lands of our captivities, as it is written. Okay, we're in wherever we're scattered to the four corners of the earth amongst the natural born heathen, we are captives. Okay? And so when it says the captivity, that's referring to the Israelites, us. And when it says to bring again, it means to free us and return us to the land. We're going home, baby. Okay? Aren't you homesick? I am. I know I am. Okay? So that's what this is talking about, our deliverance and salvation. When I shall bring, Well, who you think you are that you can do that? This is the Most High speaking, man. What? This is the Most High speaking. Excuse me? Huh? This is the Most High Yahweh, our Father, the Holy One of Israel, Abanawa. Okay? Allahayanawa, our Father, our God. Okay? Our husband, because metaphorically speaking, he's a husband to the nation of Israel. Okay? One who tends to, cares for, nurtures, and even chastises and disciplines. Okay? When I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. All right? And so that's what it's talking about. This is talking about end time biblical prophecy, specifically referring to that verse 1 is our deliverance and salvation. Okay? And this is right preceding that. I mean, immediately preceding that. Like right same time, but before it. Same time, but before it. I will also gather all nations. This is in progress, and will bring them. This is happening right now. The nations are being gathered right now, and will bring them, the nations. How many of them again? All, every last one of them, and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. I said, when I read it in the opening passage, I read it verbatim to not throw anybody who's hearing this for the first time off. What do you mean? Say this is Jehoshaphat. So, I read it verbatim, everything except the names Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. I always use those. But outside of that, for the opening precept passage, I read it verbatim, except for the names. Only exception. But after that, I put the Hebrew in and I read it as I read it. Okay? Yahweh Shaphat. That's how you say it in the Hebrew, which that's the language this was written in. It was written in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, okay? And it is two different words. I'm going to show you, okay? Pardon me if I'm a little fired up, okay? All right, it's two words, and that's why you see it. Root word, etymology. You see two different root words, okay? The first word here is our Father Yahweh's name, and you can see it right there. Now, when they put it together, they changed it a little bit, but it is Yahweh, and then the first word, Yahweh, and the second word, Shaphat, okay? Yahweh, Shaphat, and you see there, it's, they got the fake, phony, false name there because there are no J's or E's or V's or O's. I mean, my goodness. Well, you do have H's and you do have A's, okay? Outside of that, there's no J's, no E's, no O's, no V's, okay? So most of those letters aren't in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, okay? Which, if my memory serves correctly, only has 22 letters. All right. So it's Yahweh judges, or Yahweh judge. Okay. Yahweh judge. And so when you get your Assyrian script, you can sound it out. And then the H8199 is the Shaphat, or the judgment. Okay. All right. And in this time, okay. Yeah, I'm not going to click on the two words. You can click on your own. The first one, H3068, that is our Father Yahweh's name. And then the H8199, just to make sure I'm about that one. Yep, Shaphat, right? Yep, to judge, govern, vindicate, punish. Let's get to the real good one. To execute judgment. Yep, that's what it's talking about. Condemning and punishing. Right, okay? Yeah, see? So Yahweh's judgment. Yahweh judges, okay? That's what it means. And that's how you say it in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew. Yahweh Shaphat, okay? And will plead. That's the same word as the end of the name of the valley, okay? I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, and will Shaphat with them there, and will punish, condemn and punish, execute judgment upon them there for my people. Okay, look at the NLT. It makes it a little easier to understand. I really brought out some of the strength of it. Okay, it's even stronger than that. But I brought out some of the strength because it's really strong language, watered down greatly in the English. But the NLT is pointing you in the right direction. There I will judge them. Okay, for harming my people. What do you think? You think when it says there I will judge them, that it means he's going to evaluate and see, okay, you've harmed my people, but now let me evaluate whether or not you're in trouble. No, they're already in trouble. This is where, that's why I said this one was real good. Execute judgment. It's time for the judgment, man. That's why they're being gathered. They're being gathered to be slain. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. This is not a joke. Come near, ye nations. Can I skip that? Can I pass? To hear and hearken, ye people. We're going to pass. We good. Let the earth hear and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. We're going to skip this one. For the it says the heathen, for the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations. Just like it said in Joel. Okay? No, you can't skip this. This is not optional. And his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. You notice this never happened. He had delivered them to the slaughter. Yeah, this is end time biblical prophecy about to be fulfilled, spoken of in the past tense. Okay? Because in the spiritual realm, it's already done. They're slain. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink. Keep in mind this language here. Keep in mind this verbiage here, because it's going to be very similar over in Joel, the second chapter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up. I said the second, it might be the third. We'll find out when we get there. Shall come up out of their carcasses. I gotta read that again. Their slain also shall be cast out. Why? Because of what they done to his chosen people. Because of what they done to his sons and his daughters. Okay? That's why. Because of what they've done to the true Israelites. Those whose lineage, heritage, and bloodline through their fathers goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You do know that the people over there in the land today, they don't go back. For the most part, there are some of us scattered amongst them. Some of us scattered amongst them even look like them. But for the very most part, you do know that they don't go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, do. You know that, right? They do go back to Abraham and Isaac, but not Jacob. They're actually, their forefather is actually the evil, wicked, older twin brother of Jacob. Okay, so they can't go through Jacob when their forefather is the brother of Jacob. Okay, they're the Edomites. Okay, lead tribe specifically, Amalek. Okay, they're slain. Also, who's the they're referring to? All nations, their armies, all the armies of all the nations. They're slain. Also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses. And the mountains, their kingdoms, shall be melted with their blood. This is metaphoric speak for as the Most High bleeds them all, their kingdoms are going to be destroyed. I mean, he keeps going. This is brutal. This is brutal. I'm telling you, keeps going. Okay, but we're out. Okay, Joel, we already got food falling off the plate. Okay, we can't. How you gonna put more food on the plate when it's already falling off the plate? Okay. Okay, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat. And now you know what they're talking about. And will plead, judge, execute punishment, execute vengeance, man. With them there for my people, for us, and for my heritage, for us, Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations, and parted my land. Amos 7:17. And they have, this is past tense here, man. Esau Edom puts this verse 3 in almost all his movies. And when I say his movies, I'm talking about his slave movies. All the movies about slavery here in America, Babylon the Great, about the so-called blacks, the Southern Kingdom being enslaved here. Okay, and if you paying attention, you'll see that the Northern Kingdom's there too. And they have cast lots for my people. It's called auction blocks, and have given a boy for an harlot. Okay, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Okay, all right, and yeah, that's it on that. I just wanted to point that out. Okay, Ty and Zidon, those are the Hamites, and those Hamites were all up in and guilty with regards to rounding up the Southern Kingdom off of the west coast of Africa and working with the Arabs, which are the Ishmaelites, and funded by Amalek, who's over there in our land today, which are Edomites, and then so you had Amalek, which is Esau Edom. One of the tribes, the top tribe, the lead tribe, the head tribe, right? And then you had Ishmael, and you had these Hamites here, all working together to round up the Southern Kingdom. And that's why they're here. Okay. One other thing I want to point out to you. The sons also of Judah and the sons of Jerusalem, northern kingdom and southern kingdom, have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Okay, specifically though, primarily the southern kingdom, right? Because we were over there. But you know, there was a sprinkling of the northern kingdom amongst the southern kingdom over there as well. Okay, and remember, it was a triangular slave trade, and the northern kingdom was put on cargo slave ships first by Cristobal Colon and sent over to Spain. Okay. So it's both tribes, okay? When I said tribes, I meant kingdoms, okay? And the sons of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, which is, who were the Grecians? The Grecians, okay? Not the original Grecians, not the original Greeks, but those that were ruling, those that were masquerading as the Greeks during the Greek Empire, which would be the Edomites. Okay, that ye might remove them far from their border. Right, that's what they did. That's talking about the transatlantic slave trade, right? And you could probably bring in some of the other slave trades as well, because that wasn't the only one. Okay, I think the other one was called the sub-Saharan. I can't remember. I think it's a sub-Saharan or something along those lines. That was another slave trade we were in. Okay, and that's what they did. Okay, and this is being fulfilled right now. Verse 7 is being fulfilled right now. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return. That's being fulfilled right now. Okay, bring in Amos the 9th chapter. Okay, let's touch on it real quick. Okay, that's being fulfilled right now. Okay, this is all good, the whole chapter. But let me just get this here. In that day, we're in that day. That day is now. Will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, the house of David, and close up the breaches thereof. This is beautiful, man. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. See, this is being fulfilled right now. Why? What are we going to do? What are we going to do first? That they may possess the remnant of Edom and of all the heathen. Oh, you heathen going to get it. Which are called by my name. Okay? Saith Yahweh that doeth this. Right? And because look, the earth is Yahweh's and all the fullness thereof. Okay, the earth is Yahweh's and the fullness thereof, right? So now, let's see here. Yeah, okay. So now let's go back over here. I'm trying to see. I'm greedy, man. All right, 30 minutes. What? Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Let me see here. What else I want to touch on before we get into the draft? Okay. Yeah. See. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. We can hold on to that until we get to the draft. All right, this is all brutal, man. This is all vicious. Okay, I want to point this out to you. Okay, look at this. Let's read 18, 19. You get the idea in 20, 21, man. More salvation and deliverance for Israel. All right, we don't have to get that. Okay, but let's get this 18 and 19 because I want to show you something in 19. And it shall come to pass in that day. We're in that day that the mountains shall, kingdom of heaven, coming soon. That the mountains, metaphorically we're in that day. So that the mountains, we're in the time of our deliverance and salvation, right? We're just wrapping up the last few prophecies that need to be fulfilled in their totality immediately prior to. And so we're just wrapping it up. We're finishing up business, okay? That the mountains in our lifetime, that the mountains, we believe months, that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk. And all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come forth of the house of Yahweh, and shall water the valley of Shittim. But look, this is what I want to show you. Just setting the stage, deliverance and salvation for Israel. Egypt shall be a desolation. Wait a minute. I thought Egypt was getting salvation. Wait a minute. Didn't it say somewhere about Egypt being, good things for Egypt? Didn't it say that? I think one of the places like Isaiah 19. I'm confused. Don't be confused. Okay, you got to have the understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. Get thee therefore wisdom, and in all thy getting, get what? Understanding. You got to have the understanding. Okay. Look at this. And Yahweh shall be known to Egypt, and the Egyptians shall know Yahweh in that day, and shall do sacrifice and oblation. Yea, they shall vow a vow unto Yahweh and perform it. Oh, wait a minute. So these Egyptians, the Most High is dealing with these Egyptians. And Yahweh shall smite Egypt. He shall smite and heal it. And they shall return even to Yahweh, and he shall be entreated of them and shall heal them. So now I'm really confused. Okay. But then you get down here and look, it's talking about, in that day shall there be a highway out of Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrians shall come into Egypt, and the Egyptian into Assyria, and the Egyptians shall serve with the Assyrians. And that day shall Israel be the third with Egypt and with Assyria. These Egyptians here. And these Assyrians here are not Egyptians, nor are they Assyrians. But they're being referred to as Egyptians and Assyrians but they're Israelites. That's why it says, in that day shall Israel be the third with Egypt and with Assyria. So Israel, obviously Israel. This Egypt here is Israel as well. And these Assyrians are Israel. These Egyptians being referred to here are Israelites. These Assyrians being referred to here are Israelites. Okay. So in other words, this is telling you all Israel. Okay. These are hey, look, before we woke up to this truth and found out that we were Israelites, what were we? We were Egyptians, Assyrians, or whatever nation that we're scattered amongst. That's what we were calling ourselves. But is that who we truly are? No. Who are we truly? Yasha Allah, Israel. See? So when we going around calling ourselves so-called blacks, so-called Latinos and Spanish, so-called Native Americans and Seminole Indians, and all these other variations of that, is that truly who we are? No. But are we calling ourselves, were we calling ourselves by those names and those titles and those proverbs and bywords? Yes. So was the world also, were others referring to us by those proverbs and bywords and those names and titles? Yes. So could you say that, we and refer to us by those names and titles and proverbs and bywords? Could you refer to us by those and say that the Most High is delivering us, that he's given us the truth? Can you say the Most High gave the blacks the truth? The Most High gave the Latinos, Hispanics, and the Native Americans and Seminole Indians the truth. The Most High is dealing with these Americans here. The Most High is dealing with those Mexicans down there. The Most High is dealing with the Israelites scattered amongst Moab over there in China. The Most High is going to deliver those Chinese people over there. Could you say that? Yes, as long as you understand that it ain't talking about the natural born heathen over there. It's talking about the Israelites scattered amongst them. And so that's why it says here in verse 25, whom Yahweh of hosts shall bless. He only blessing Israel, man. Blessed be Egypt. Okay? These Egyptians here are not Egyptians. They're Israelites. Okay? Blessed be Egypt, not the actual Egyptians. My people. The actual Egyptians are not the Most High's people. They're Hamites. Okay? And Assyria, not the actual Assyrians. The actual Assyrians, who they go back to? I forget off the top of my head. You can look it up. Okay? Not the actual Assyrians. The work of my hand. The scriptures only identifies Israel as his people. The scripture only identifies Assyria as, mess that all up. The scripture only identifies Israel as the work of his hands. The work of his hands, that terminology is reserved. So let me say it again. That terminology, the work of my hands, is reserved for Israel only. The terminology, my people, is reserved for Israel only. And that's why you have to have the understanding. When it says, blessed be Egypt, my people, it's talking about Israel. And when it says, and Assyria, the work of my hands, it's talking about Israel. Israel is his people. Israel is the work of his hands. And Israel, mine inheritance. So this is saying the same thing 3 different ways. One of the ways is clear. The other 2 ways are dark. Okay? Not clear. You got to have the understanding. And when you have the understanding, well, it's crystal clear then. Yes, it's crystal clear to me. Okay, blessed be Egypt, my people, talking about Israelites. And Assyria, the work of my hands, talking about Israelites. And Israel, mine inheritance. Right, the third part. Israel shall be the third part with Egypt and Assyria because you put all 3 parts together and you got all Israel. Yeah, duh, right? So when it tells you here, blessed be Egypt, my people, see people come here and they don't have an understanding, or they trying to push false doctrines and they think this is saying the actual Egyptians, the actual Assyrians, going to get deliverance and salvation. But how can that be when we get back over here and it says Egypt shall be a desolation? Now which one is it? That's a contradiction. No, it's no contradiction. Over in Isaiah 19 and other passages similar to it, it's talking about Israelites, not the actual heathen. Here, this is the actual heathen. The actual Egyptians, the actual literal natural born Egyptians, the Hamites, this is what they're going to get. Egypt shall be a desolation. Right. And the Edomites and all the heathen. And Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. Okay? So Egypt's going to be a desolation. Not blessed. Okay? Because over there it said it's blessed, but now here it says a desolation. And Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the sons of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. Okay? And then it goes on for more deliverance and salvation and good news for Israel, which is only for Israel. Okay? I just want to point that out because it's there. That's why you got to get the precepts. Okay? Precept upon precept, precept upon precept, say it twice because it's that critical and that important. I didn't say it twice. It's in the scripture, Isaiah the 20th chapter. Line upon line, line upon line. Say that twice also because it's critical and important. Same thing. It's in Isaiah 20th chapter. I'm not doubling up on it. It's in the scriptures. Okay? Here a little and there a little. Through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. If you don't get the precepts, you're going to love falsehood. Okay? Don't love falsehood, man. It ain't going to work out well. It ain't going to end well. Okay? So I just want to point those things out. Now let's let him talk. Okay? Let me see this. Yep, it's cute.
And so these are just more tokens, right, for the government to borrow more money, more collateral. We are all debt collateral. I think that something is about to go down in Iran. I can't say it's going to be this weekend, but if these Epstein documents...
Yeah. Most likely, okay? Let me see here. 50, 45. Let's go to 49, 20. Because you got this exact same precept in two sequential chapters. The terminology is just a little different with regards to the names for the people being referred to. Okay, here it's Edom and Teman. Over there in the 50th chapter in the 45th verse, it's is it Babylon and I forget. So let me just check it because I haven't read it in a while. I forget. I think it's Babylon and I forget. The Chaldeans. There you go. Yep. All talking about Edom, Esau, Edom. Babylon and the Chaldeans. Not ancient Babylon, modern day spiritual. Well, I want to call it spiritual. This is Babylon, man. Okay, you could say spiritual, but this is Babylon. Okay, this is talking about America. Babylon the Great. It's referred to by a bunch of different names. In code, man. In code, America is referred to by a bunch of different names. Okay, chief and preeminent amongst them all is Babylon. Okay, the Great. Okay, Revelation 17, Revelation 18, other places, plenty of places in Revelation. And the land of the Chaldeans, modern day Chaldeans, is America, Babylon the Great. Okay, so it's referred to as Babylon and the land of Babylon and the land of the Chaldeans here in this verse. Other than that, it's identical. Going back over here, we'll get it here though, because it's plain. Okay, therefore, hear the counsel. We know that the counsel of our Father shall stand, and he's going to do all his pleasure. Isaiah 42 and 9, Isaiah 46, 8, 9, and 10. Points in 10. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh, cannot be changed, cannot be altered, cannot be delayed, cannot be slowed down, nothing. That he have taken against Edom, Esau, Edom, and his purposes. He's going to do all his pleasure. That he have purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Talking about Esau, Edom still. So here's Edom and Teman. Over there is Babylon and the land of the Chaldeans. All talking about Esau, Edom. All talking about America, Babylon the Great. Surely the least, but ultimately the whole nation of Esau, Edom. Because they're all over the world. They had the dew of heaven from above and the fatness of the earth. Okay, so the whole kingdom of Esau, Edom. All right, okay. The greatest destruction is coming to America, Babylon the Great, but their whole kingdom is coming down. Surely the least of the flock, the least, meaning in a certain regard, they're the greatest because they're the lead, but the least in number, and also, in other words, population, they're the least in population, and because when you really understand how many of them is over there in that land, it's only like maybe 7 million, okay? They put a population of like 9 million or something like that. But you got to understand, you got a lot of other people over there. Okay, you got some of our people over there. You got other people over there. Other nations over there as well. Okay, the actual population of Amalekites over there in the land of Israel is about 7 million, and I got that number from George Galloway, who is a former MP in the British Parliament. Okay, and he does one of the best talk shows related to current geopolitical events. He does one of the best talk shows, and it's called the mother of all talk shows, and that's a pretty good name, Moats. Okay, because his talk show is referring, which focuses in on, I want to say end time, but and that's appropriate. But geopolitical events is very good. Okay, and yeah, I got that number from him. And he should know since he was all up in the British government, okay? And he was like 5, 6, or 7 time member of parliament over there, okay? Which is, I don't know exactly what part or branch or how they break up the British government or however they do it, but he was part of it a bunch of times, okay? So he knows his stuff. So yeah, they're the least in number, and they're also the least with regards to how long they've been in the land that they've raped, robbed, and pillaged and stole. Okay, and they're still busy rape, robbing, and pillaging it today. Okay, right? But all the other Edomites who are greater in population, greater in number, they've all been in their lands hundreds of years longer. Okay, but Esau, but the Amalekites rather, they've been over there, but they haven't really been dominating like that only till about 19. Well, put the 4 with the +8. Okay, and the Balfour Declaration. Okay, so basically they just celebrated. I think they coming up on, they just celebrated 75 years over there. They ain't even broke triple digits yet, right? So that's the way that they're the least. And what is the least going to do? The Amalekites, the Israelis, not the Israelites, man. They don't call themselves Israelites. Why not? Because they're not the Israelites, and they know that. So they don't call themselves Israelites. They call themselves Israelis, and that's why they don't say the name of our Father. Okay, his name is not to be in their mouths. Why not? Slack. Well, this is why. I think it's Malachi 3. It might be Malachi 1. It's Malachi 1. This is why they don't say his name. Okay? It's not for them. Okay? But cursed be the deceiver, 14, which hath in his flock a male, and voweth and sacrifices unto Ha'adawan a corrupt thing. Okay? For I am a great king, saith Yahweh of hosts. And my name, his name is Yahweh, is dreadful among the heathen. Okay? That's right. And so they don't say his name. Okay? I don't even know. Some of them might use the fake, phony, false name Yahweh, and they can do that. They can do that. But a lot of the times, those Orthodox wall humpers over there, okay, pee-pee biters over there, okay, the booze, okay, the Orthodox ones over there, a lot of the times they say Hashem. They use the term Hashem as the Father's name, and not their father, because he's not their father, right? But they use the term Hashem, which Ha is Hebrew for the, Shem is Hebrew for name. Okay, the name. That's what they say. They call the Most High the name. That's what they call him, right? Because they don't use his name. They don't mess with his name, because they know that if they speak his name, our Father Yahweh is liable to smack not only the taste out of their mouths, but also their tongue and their whole lower jaw with it. Okay? They know that. So they don't mess with our Father's name. Right? Hashem. They can say Hashem all day long. They can say that. Okay? They can say Yahweh. Okay? They can say whatever other, but they don't mess with our Father's name. Cause look, man, they might be wicked, but they not. Well, they are dumb. But they're not dumb in that matter. They know better than to say our Father's name. That's why. Esau's stupid, but he ain't that stupid. Okay? Okay? Surely the least of the flock, that's the Israelis over there in the land today, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Who's the them? The them is the whole rest of the nation of Esau, Edom. Okay? Starting with focusing in on, first and foremost, not only first, but foremost, focusing in on, keying in on, zeroing in on America, Babylon the Great, getting drawn out. Okay? In other words, all the way in, both feet in the water, okay, up to the neck, okay, up to the nose, okay, really over the head, okay? America, Babylon the Great, and along with America, Babylon the Great, all the rest of Esau, Edom, getting drawn out and all the way into the Third World War. They in it right now, but they trying to kind of like be behind the scenes a little bit, or maybe they trying to pick and choose their spots. They already in it now, but they're going to get drawn all the way into it. Surely he shall make, the least of the flock, Amalek, over there in the land of Israel, the Israelis, shall make there the rest of Esau, Edom, especially, particularly, this part right here, especially, particularly, the whole verse, especially, particularly for America, Babylon the Great, desolate with them. Bring in Ezekiel, the 35th chapter. Okay? So, yeah, when he said, and so one of the best ways, one of the, I'm gonna say the best ways, the way that this is most likely to go down, and I don't see it happening any other way, but it's possible, right? Okay, we you know, 1 Corinthians the 13th chapter, for now we see yet dimly as through a dark glass, you know, for now we know in part and we prophesy in part. But what we see happening is that Israel and Iran are going to be going at it, which is, that's what Nate's going into here, and I'm gonna back it up and let him say it again. Okay, Israel, all the talk on the street is that Israel and Iran, that's about to flare up again, because what did you expect it to do? It was just a lull in the action. This ain't going nowhere. It is going somewhere. It's going all the way to the max. That's where it's going. Okay, this is just a lull in the action. This is a break. This is a huddle. This is a end of the round. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, you know that's the end of that round. All right, next round's coming. Okay, get ready. Okay, that's all this is, right? Okay, so Israel and Iran, all word on the street is they about to ramp that up again. Okay, to greater heights than it was the last time they wrapped it up, and that's the way it's going to be. So just expect nothing less than that. Okay, they're going to wrap it up again. And then what? Can the Israelis handle Iran on their own? No. So what's going to happen? You already know. Nate's telling you. America, Babylon the Great, is going to come. That's the least of the flock, drawing out America. They already got America. They already got America by the gonads, man. Okay? America ain't doing nothing but what Israel wants them to do. The Israelis, that is. Okay? So when the Israelis and the Iranians, which are the Persians, get into it, America absolutely critically has make a word, right? Absolutely has to come in and help the Israelis. And when America comes in and helps the Israelis, right? Well, now Iran's going to have its hands full. Can Iran handle that? Well, they can put up a fight, but no. So, in accordance with Ezekiel 38th chapter, be thou prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company, and be thou a guard unto them. Who's going to be a guard unto Iran? You know, you got America, Babylon the Great, being a guard to the Israelis. Who's going to be a guard unto Iran? Ezekiel 38th chapter, Gog and Magog. Gog, the land of Gog. Okay, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Who's that? The Persians. Who's that? I mean, not the Persians. Slaki. I meant to say the Medes. Who's that? Okay, Russia. Russia is going to come to Iran's defense. And then what? Well, didn't you hear what sleepy, creepy Joe Biden told you? You know, when he was awake? You know, he told you that when you have Russian soldiers across the trench from American soldiers shooting at one another, that's World War III. Right? Well, I got news for you. World War III, the third world, is already here. It's ramping up, though. Okay? It ain't reached the pinnacle yet. It's already started, man. Come on. All right? Hey, things got to ramp up. Things got to cook. It's cooking. Okay? So, yeah. And that's what this verse here is talking about. That's what Jeremiah 49:20 and 50 and 45 is talking about. And these other verses are all bringing that all together. Okay? That's what it's talking about.
Meant to borrow more money, more collateral. We are all debt collateral. I think that something is about to go down in Iran. I can't say it's going to be this weekend, but if these Epstein documents are any reflection, then they absolutely are. Somebody is trying to get what they want, and usually what the elites want is war and bloodshed.
Goodness gracious.
Usually what the elites want down in Iran, I can't say it's going to be this weekend, but if these Epstein documents are any reflection, then they absolutely are. Somebody is trying to get what they want, and usually what the elites want is war and bloodshed and the further concentration of wealth into fewer and fewer people.
Ooh, Nate, since you said that, I gotta get a precept. Never let a good precept go to waste. I always say. Revelation 6:4, man. Come on. Okay? And there went out another horse. This man is the violent and bloody man. I could get that one too, but I'm going to pass. And there went out another horse that was red. Why red? Genesis 25:25, Isaiah 1:18. And power was given to him that sat thereon. Who sat on the red horse? Genesis 25:25, man. Thereon to take peace from the earth. And that Esau, Edom, man. And that they should kill one another. What did Nate just say?
This weekend, but if these Epstein documents are any reflection, then they absolutely are. Somebody is trying to get what they want, And usually what the elites want is war and bloodshed and the further concentration of wealth into fewer and fewer people.
What? War and bloodshed. Okay, I told you, this ride on a red horse is Esau Edom, the so-called white man, generally speaking. Okay, not all so-called white men not all so-called white men are Edomites. Okay, but the majority of them are, because that's their normal way of looking. Genesis 25 and 25. Okay, that's why the horse is red, and the rider on the horse is the red man. Okay, the name of their nation, Adawam, in the Hebrew literally means red. All right, the name Esau, Ishashwa, literally means wasted away is he. And why was he named wasted away is he? Because he had no melanin in his skin when he was born, and you could see his blood under his skin. That's why he came out red all over like a hairy garment, because everybody else was being born with melanin. He was born with none. And that's why he looked like he was wasted away. It looked like he wasn't done cooking, but he was done. This was the way the Most High set it up for him to look, because he is the violent, bloody, sinful, wicked man. So the Most High made him the color of sin. Isaiah 1 and 18. Okay? You don't have to believe it. Okay? You can even argue it if you want, but you're going to be kind of looking kind of stupid though. So I don't recommend that. If you don't believe it, I just say best thing to do is just shut up and go away. Click off. Okay? Because it makes sense and you know it. Okay? And that they should kill one another. Right? Usually what is more war and bloodshed. And there was given unto him a great sword. You can't deny this, man. Genesis, the 27th chapter, 37, 38, 39. Come on. All right, let's get out of here. Back over here.
Arguments are any reflection, then they absolutely are. Somebody is trying to get what they want, and usually what the elites want is war and bloodshed and the further concentration of wealth into fewer and fewer people. And they're going to continue with this extortion racket to get what they want. And it looks like what they want is for Trump to declare all-out war. I'm not just talking about, limited strikes or covert action. Full-scale ground invasion, occupation, Iran. Well, how are they going to do it, Nate? How have they done it throughout history? They're going to have a military draft.
Right.
People think it's impossible that they're going to have a military draft? Are you kidding me? They got the Turning Points thing going on. They got Pete Hegseth up there doing push-ups. They got to make it cool. Right? They're going to show all the fancy, cool tech that you can use. They're going to be cool commercials coming out. I predicted this a long time ago. This is what they're going to do. And of course, they've gotten people accustomed to seeing people kidnapped in the streets by mass thugs, just like they do in Ukraine. So when the commissars come and collect you, and you're screaming and kicking, people are just going to think, oh, there goes another guy. And if all those protesters that were out there to try to, stop them before, and whether you agree with them or not, there might not be protesters come that time. And then if you try to avoid it, they'll call you a draft dodger. As if your name was Donald Trump or something, or every other president who dodged the draft for that matter. That's what's coming, man. So yeah, I wouldn't sweat this.
There you go, man. And is he right? I'm gonna give you two choices. Is he right, or is he right? Okay. I get that from one of my favorite movies, man. One of my favorite movies, Groundhog Day. Okay, I love that movie. Anyway, he's right. He's right, and he's right. Okay. And I'm going to read it to you now in the scriptures, okay? Well, that's before I was about to get the other precepts, but that's one of the reasons we came to Joel 3. Okay? Let's see here. Let's get straight to it. 9, 10. Just 9, 10, and 11 should be sufficient, because, we're getting short on time. And I still want to run over to, I still want to go to Isaiah 3 and 2 Esdras 16. So, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, natural born Gentiles. Prepare war. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that one. I want to get that too. Let me get that now. Jeremiah 50 and, is it 22? Yes. Whew, man. Okay. 22 to 25. I don't know how far we're going to get. Okay. 22 to 25. A sound of battle is in the land. What's this talking about? It's talking about now. And of great destruction. Hey? How is the hammer of the whole earth? Come on, man. What nation, what's this talking about hammer of the whole, what nation could possibly even remotely have the title of hammer of the whole earth? Come on, wait. I give you one guess. America, man. This is talking about America. Babylon the Great. How is the hammer? They just had an operation called Midnight Hammer. They just had an operation, and the name of the operation was Midnight Hammer. This is too easy. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? Because that's what's getting ready to happen to America, Babylon the Great. How is Babylon, America, become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee. It's a trap. And thou art also taken. You're caught in the trap. O Babylon, America. And thou wast not aware. No clue. Thou art found and also caught because thou hast striven against Yahweh. Yahweh hath opened his armory. Armory is a place you keep weapons, man. All kinds of weapons. Best weapons. And have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. Who are you going to use these weapons of your indignation on, Abba? Well, he tells you. I mean, matching, man. Matching. Kindergarten. Pre-kindergarten. Okay? Romper room. Okay? Not Malachi 4. Malachi 1 and 4. Okay? Malachi 1 and 4. Okay? What did it say again? It says, Yahweh hath opened his army and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. Who they for? Who they for? Okay? The weapons of his indignation, who's he going to use those on? Come on, man. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, you already know, but we will return and build the desolate places. Yeah, and they have. You're living in it. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build. And they did because the Most High signed off on it. That was the Most High's will. But I will throw down. That's why he wanted them to build, so he could throw it down. And that's what's about to happen now. Job, the 20th chapter comes to mind. Whole chapter. And they shall call them, Edom, Esau, Edom, the border of wickedness. And here's the answer. The people, the nation, the family, against whom Yahweh hath, there it is, indignation forever. So Esau, Edom is the people, the nation, the family that our Father Yahweh, the God of all creation, hath indignation against forever. So who you think the weapons of his indignation is for? Yahweh hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of Adonai Yahweh of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. America, Babylon the Great, led by, controlled by, ruled by Edom. Drop the mic. Okay? So, back over here. Okay? Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Everybody thought they had this book. Everybody thought that this book was, in a box. Everybody thought this book was in a box, man. Okay? This book is living. It's sharp. It's quick. It's sharper than and living. Man. It's sharper than any two-edged sword. This book, cannot be. This book is not tamed, man. You don't have this book in a box. You don't have this book on the mantle, and it's just sitting there waiting for you at your beck and call. Okay? Everything that's taking place is in accordance with the scriptures. The script. You're not going off script. Impossible to go off script. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares. Yep, you don't want to come. You're getting drafted. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. The nations of the earth have been doing this for years now. Openly. Every year, they're increasing their war fighting spending by healthy amounts, healthy doses, year over year. Every time you turn around, 4.5% increase in military spending, 5.7% increase in military spending. Well, didn't you just increase it last year? Yeah, we did, but you don't think that was too little? We should do more? Okay, 7.6% increase in military spending, 15% increase. Oh, America, Babylon the Great, we're going to go from about $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion. 50% increase in military spending. They're all doing it, okay? That's what this is talking about. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. All resources. Don't you mean all available resources? No. Not all available. All resources. All available resources, and then reallocate and redirect other resources that's not available. Redirect that to also into military spending, into war fighting preparations. Oh, and get that draft going. Like a Black Panther said, like Black Panther said on Avengers Endgame, and get this man a shield. Hey, get that draft going, you know? Yeah, don't forget the draft now. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Okay? Train even your weaklings to be warriors. Yeah, you can go with that too. But it's also talking about the weak nations saying, hey, look, we can get in there and mix it up too. Look at the Yemenis. Okay? The Houthis. Okay? Little tiny itty bitty nation. Okay? But they all up in the mix, causing trouble, stirring up mayhem, you know, just throwing blows, haymakers. Little tiny, and hey, look, the big boys feel it. The big boys gotta give them a little room. Let the weak say I'm strong, which of course they're Ishmael, and in accordance with what's that, Genesis? What chapter is that? I forget what chapter it is. But Ishmael is a wild man. His hand is so be against every man, and every man's hand against him. So that's Ishmael there. Ishmael don't give a fuck. Okay, Ishmael is ready to get in there and mix it up, and that's what the Houthis are showing you. Okay, most of those nations over there are Ishmael. Okay, you got Elam over there with the Iranians. Okay, and you got some other nations mixed in amongst them too, but it's predominantly a lot of those nations over there. If they're not Elam, well, most of them are Ishmael, right? And if they're not Ishmael, they're Elam, and then you got some other nations, you got some other others mixed in with them too. Okay, so we got that there because that's right, man. Hey, look, you're going to get your ass in there and you're going to get trained up and you're getting your ass sent over to war. Okay, and so let's go to Isaiah 3. Now, this is one of many. Did I say many? This is one of many ways that you can know and prove biblically that we are the Israelites. Okay, first and foremost, well, I was about to say prophecy, but this is prophecy. Okay, but you can look at this also as a descriptor. Okay. But it's prophecy as well, okay? Because these curses right here that are put on the daughters of Zion are all over, especially the southern kingdom daughters of Zion, the so-called black woman. These are all over the so-called black woman. But it's over the northern kingdom as well, the northern kingdom daughters of Zion as well, but it's not as heavy on them. It's not as heavy, but it's on them though, okay? Especially when it comes to, instead of a girdle or rent, you know? You can see that. And even some of them, not as bad. A lot of times they have their hair and a lot of times they grow their hair. But even with that, you can see that they do be suffering somewhat from thinning hair. Okay. They may have their hair and it may be growing, but then it'll start thinning out. Okay. But usually it's not as bad as the southern kingdom for the northern kingdom daughters of Zion. Okay. The so-called blacks, the so-called black woman. Okay. Tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Man, these curses right here are stomping up and down on them. And this ain't happening to the Chinese woman. And if it is, that's probably because she's the daughter of Zion. Okay? Just looking like a Chinese woman, right? But even with that, that's going to be a small percentage of the quote unquote Chinese woman. And that's because she's not actually a Chinese woman. She just looks like one. Her bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. She's the daughter of Zion. Right? But if you just go over to China and you looking at the Chinese women over there, they all growing their hair just fine. Go over amongst Ishmael and his women, they're all growing their hair just fine. Right? Go over to the the Elamite woman. That's one of the best places that they get fake hair from and sell it for the daughters of Zion to buy it and sew it into their own hair. Okay? They wearing another woman's hair, which a woman's hair is her glory. They wearing another woman's glory. Okay, so no, these curses prove, because they're all over the so-called black woman, and to a lesser extent over the so-called Latino, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian women as well. But this proves that we're the Israelites, because our women are the women who have these curses all over them, stomping up and down on them, especially the southern kingdom. Okay, so you read about these curses here, and any of your daughters of Zion, you'll be like, that is true. Yeah, I'm dealing with that. And that was not too bad, but yeah, this one here and that one, and then maybe not this one, but yeah, that one too. Okay. Because they're not all going to be the same on every daughter of Zion, okay? And they're not all the same on we're talking in generalities here. They're not all hitting each tribe exactly the same, okay? The Most High picks and chooses these how it varies from tribe to tribe and from daughter of Zion to daughter of Zion, okay? Because it's all, the Most High, He specifies it. He individualizes it. Okay, although the curses are general, he individualizes it. One daughter of Zion may get a little more on this one, a little less on that one. Okay, and one tribe may get a little heavier in this and a little lighter in that. Okay, and that's all up to the Most High. Okay, and so when you get down here though, especially this is getting ready to happen here. Okay, this you see that it says in that day, right? 18 through 23, that's already starting to happen, but you wait until Tazara Yaquat reaches its pinnacle. That's going to be real bad, okay, for you daughters of Zion, okay? Yahweh Zion, not you daughters of Zion that are already seeking the righteous path and rehearsing the righteous acts. You know, may Yahweh Shemashah have mercy upon you and be with you in that day, right off the bat, okay? But then you got a lot of daughters of Zion that are ultimately going to get mercy, but the Most High is going to basically put them through the ringer first, and then they're going to get the mercy, okay? And they're going to be looking rough for a while until the Most High says that's enough, because he's already predestinated them to get mercy, and he's going to put them with one of his men. And that's where you bring in Isaiah 13 and 12 and also 32 and 2, okay? But right after it talks about the curses on our women, it says, thy men shall fall by the sword. Okay? And you say, but how do we know this is talking about end time biblical prophecy? Oh, I'm going to prove it to you in a second. This could be something that's already been fulfilled. Thy men shall fall, and maybe it has, but not to the degree it's about to be fulfilled now. Okay? Because a lot of the curses, yeah, you can say that too. A lot of the curses, I meant to say a lot of the prophecies, they're cyclical. But in this time, if it's a cyclical prophecy, and this time it's back again with a vengeance. And not only a vengeance, the greatest vengeance, because it's all been a build-up to the here and now. This is the time when the prophecies apply and will be fulfilled to the greatest degree, point blank, period, end of discussion, end of story, close the book. Okay? Thy men, so this is talking about now to the highest degree, on the highest level. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war, and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Thy men shall fall by the sword, war, and thy mighty in the war. Well, that sword there, that's not necessarily war, although you can call it that, because you're going to have one people standing up against another with swords in their hands, fighting. Okay, it's going basically, brothers usually refer to it as race wars, but it's going to be more of a disorganized kind of like all over the place type of thing. Okay. And, it's going to kind of, it ain't going to be like a war like this race of people, it lines up on this side of the field, and another race of people lines up, and then they say, charge. No, not like that. It's just going to be a general spirit of contention. And, you may, it won't necessarily be absolute either. So you may have certain people that's still kind of going along and getting along and cooperating and all that, but there's going to be an overall general spirit of hostility, and it's going to be acted upon. Okay? And thy mighty in the war. Let's take that sentiment. Oh, I got to prove to you this is talking about end time biblical prophecy, because it rolls. And remember, when the scriptures were written, there were no chapter breaks. No chapter breaks. Because when you see a chapter break, it kind of subconsciously makes you think that, oh, okay, that's the end of that thought. Now, when I get to the next chapter 4 over there, that's a whole new thing. No, okay? There were no chapter breaks, okay? It can be that way, but that's not necessarily the case, okay? There were no chapter breaks, there were no verses. The verses and the chapter breaks were added later on for organizational purposes. I'm pointing that out because when it goes, thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war, and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. When it says that, that's not the end of this thought. It continues. Yeah, but prove it. And in that day, and that right there is telling you it's a continuation. In that day. Okay? What day? Well, you got to go back to verse 3 to know what day. Okay? This day. We just read it. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war, and thy gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. That day. That's the day it's talking about. This is a continuation of the end of chapter 3. This is the same thing. This is not a new thought. Okay? If it's helpful to you, ignore the fact that it's a new chapter. This is a continuation. You really could take, it's a short chapter. It's only 6 verses. You really could just get rid of this 4th chapter and take it and tack it on to the end of the 3rd chapter. But for whatever reason, they decided not to do that. Okay? Maybe, I don't know why. But they decided not to do that. But it's you really could eliminate the 4th chapter and make it the end of the 3rd chapter. Okay? And in that day shall the branch, and in that day 7 women. This is Isaiah 4:1. This is percolating right now. Okay? Not quite ready to say that it's finished cooking yet, but it's getting close. It's getting close. It's in the works. It's on the stove. It's oh yeah, you know how like you cooking something and you like, oh yeah, it's coming together. It's gonna be done soon. And it's smelling good. It's gonna be done soon. Okay, oh man, I can taste it. I'm ready for it. Okay, because you know it's gonna be done soon because it's smelling like it's done. It's smelling. You look at it, it ain't quite done yet, but it's still smelling good. I can't wait because it's almost done. That's Isaiah 4:1. And in that day, and pretty much all the prophecies right now. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. Okay? And it's wicked for a man to have more than one woman. Man, shut up. Saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us. Now I'm going to be talking about just me. This is my man. No, us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Not my reproach. Our reproach. Not me be called by thy name. Let us be called. See, all that's about to be done away with, man. All these ways of the heathen that we've learned here, all this wickedness that we've learned here, okay? That's all getting ready to be done away with. And this is just sealing the deal, the nail in the coffin, and any doubt that this is talking about end time biblical prophecy. In that day shall the branch of Yahweh be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. Okay? And look at that. It just goes on. I mean, come on, man. When her other one shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem, because that's what he's going to do with the daughters of Zion that are getting deliverance and salvation, that he has appointed unto mercy. Okay? The rest of them, which is the majority of them, slaughtered. Okay? The majority of the daughters of Zion, slaughtered. But the ones he's going to get deliverance and salvation to, he's going to wash away your filth. Okay? This is all end time biblical prophecy going into the kingdom of heaven. Verses 2 and 3. Verse 4 is on this side immediately prior to the kingdom of heaven. Verse 2 transitions into the kingdom of heaven. Verse 3 is all kingdom of heaven. Okay? Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, this is kingdom of heaven. Yep, kingdom of heaven. Okay? So it starts on this side immediately prior to the kingdom of heaven. I told you it's cooking. It's almost done. That's Isaiah 4:1. And then Isaiah 4:2 transitions into the kingdom of heaven. All kingdom of heaven for the rest of the chapter. Okay? Just scanning it to make sure it doesn't shift on me. But yeah. Yep. Okay. So now, let's see here. Now, from there, thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. From there, let's go to this is the last precept we're gonna get. 2nd Esdras 16. And I think like 31, something like that. $32. Well, all we need is 33 and 34 because this whole chapter is very, very heavy. But all we need for this point about the draft, and we didn't get to Joel 2. Okay, Joel 2, Revelation 14. Was there something else we was going to get? We got a lot tonight. That's going to have to be tomorrow. I'm probably going to get that for the live altar teaching. Okay, so Jeremiah, I meant to say Joel, the 2nd chapter. We're going to get a good chunk of that. And yeah, there was something else. Right. Yeah, I just want to show you this as well because I couldn't remember if it was the 2nd chapter or the 3rd chapter. And I think it's the 3rd chapter. So let me go over there and show you that. Let me see here. Let's see here. Here's that. Let me see. What was that? That was a precept earlier. Slack. I'm trying to remember what the precept was, but I wanted to confirm. Oh, I think yeah. This is it. This is it. Okay. Yep. Now, where did we read that? Oh, it was Isaiah. It was Isaiah the 34th chapter. Let me just, put this to bed in my mind. Okay. I think it was Isaiah 30. No, it was a different chapter. Something else. We've been a lot of places. I can't remember. But anyway, I think this Joel 3:14 is what I was thinking about. Anyway, let's move on. Okay. 2nd Esdras 16:3 and 4. The virgins, Alamayim, the young women of marriageable age, according to the righteous way, that is. Okay. The young women of marriageable age, which is quite different and contrary to the modern way of doing things. Which, by the way, how's that worked out? Okay, we got a bunch of virtuous women that are virgins that are being given away in marriage these days, right? Okay, how's that worked out? We got a lot of homes that are staying intact until death does them part, right? I mean, without them killing each other, right? So how's the modern way worked out? Okay, they have this thing called empirical evidence. What's the empirical evidence say about the modern so-called Judeo-Christian way of doing things? The progressive way. How's that working? What's the empirical evidence say? Total and complete and utter disaster. Okay, but the righteous, holy way, well, they call that absolute wickedness. Okay, all right. So the virgins, Ilamayim, young women of marriageable age, according to the righteous way, okay, shall mourn, having no bridegrooms, okay, no men to marry. The women shall mourn, having no husbands, okay. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers, because they got drafted and sent to war. Hey, come on, man, we got a case in point with Ukraine. Whole generation of men. I mean, you got some scragglers there. You got a percentage of them. But the generation of men over there of war fighting age and expand the bounds. Make it younger and make it older. Okay? Hey, get the older ones and get the younger ones too. All right? So an expanded segment, an expanded generation, because they didn't just stay I don't know if they lowered the age, but they're talking about lowering the age. Right? But they certainly increased the age. Okay? I can't remember how far they increased it. And they drafted women over there too. They're going to do that here as well. Okay? Women, get ready. Okay? And, but that whole generation over there, plus, in other words, they've expanded the age band. Okay? So a whole generation plus has been gutted over there. There's a great shortage of men over there. So you got an example. Case in point. Okay? Coming to America, Babylon the Great. Okay? In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. See? Okay? This is what's coming. And so when Nate said what he said, he was right. And he was right. Okay?
Tax slaves like the rest of us. And so these are just more tokens, right, for the government to borrow more money, more collateral. We are all debt collateral. I think that something is about to go down in Iran. I can't say it's going to be this weekend, but if these Epstein documents are any reflection, then they absolutely are. Somebody is trying to get what they want, and usually what the elites want is war and bloodshed and the further concentration of wealth into fewer and fewer people. And they're going to continue with this extortion racket to get what they want. And it looks like what they want is for Trump to declare all-out war. I'm not just talking about, limited strikes or covert action. Full-scale ground invasion, occupation, Iran. Well, how are they going to do it, Nate? How have they done it throughout history? They're going to have a military draft. People think it's impossible that they're going to have a military draft. Are you kidding me? They got the Turning Points thing going on. You know, they got Pete Hegseth up there doing push-ups. They got to make it cool, right? They're going to show all the fancy, cool tech that you can use. There are going to be cool commercials coming out. I predicted this a long time ago. This is what they're going to do. And of course, they've gotten people accustomed to seeing people kidnapped in the streets by mass thugs, just like they do in Ukraine. So when the commissars come and collect you, you know, and you're screaming and kicking, people are just going to think, oh, you know, there goes another guy. And if all those protesters that were out there to try to, you know, stop them before, and whether you agree with them or not, there might not be protesters come that time. And then if you try to avoid it, they'll call you a draft dodger, as if your name was Donald Trump or something, or every other president who dodged the draft for that matter. That's what's coming, man. So, yeah,
Yeah, let's close on this. He's right, and he's right. Okay? Let's close on this. Oh, man, I got to deal with this. There we go. Hey, it was nice to me tonight. Let's see here. Send Psalms. Don't want to try to remember which one. Let's see here. Maybe it's. Let's go with. Let's just do that. No. Let's go with violent, man. You might not have violent and bloody in the verse. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's just talking about the violent, man. We can go with you. We can go with this 140th Psalm. Let's go with the let's just pull that up and we're gonna close here. All right. I hit the wrong one. Psalms 140. I'm getting ready to wrap up. All right. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. Deliver me, O Yahweh, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man. This is, hey, look, you can apply this to and you know, when David was writing this, all right, let me see here. Yeah. Okay. He was talking about wicked Israelites, right? But on the highest level, who's this applied to? Esau, Edom, who is indeed the violent and bloody man. Okay. All right. Put that in all caps. Deliver me, O Yahweh, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Esau, Edom takes these things and he does them to the max in their perfection, nonstop, continually. Continually are they gathered together for war. And this is what Esau is doing against us. Okay. All right. It's what's in his heart to kill and slay his brother Jacob. Let me prove that real quick. It ain't changed. Genesis 27. Okay. And 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And he ain't stopped hating us, man. Amos 1, 11 and 12. Okay. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Okay. This is who he is. The violent and bloody man. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips. Selah. Keep me, O Yahweh, from the hands of the wicked. Esau, Edom, on the highest level. You can refer to wicked Israelites as the wicked. Okay. But in this context here, I won't say in this context, because you can refer to wicked Israelites as the wicked, but they are not quote unquote the wicked. Quote unquote the wicked is Esau, Edom. You got to know that. You got to know when it's talking about wicked in general, and you got to know when it's talking about the wicked. Okay? And when it's talking about wicked in general, it still applies to Esau, Edom, because they're the wicked on the highest level. So amongst the wicked in general, certainly Esau, Edom is going to be there at the top. Okay? Preserve me from the violent man. This is the only way to be preserved. This is our only way to be kept. Okay? We have no power. We have no might. We have no strength in our hands. So we're going to go to Isaiah, the 40th chapter. Okay? Preserve me from the violent man who have purposed to overthrow my goings. And that's exactly what Edom has purposed in this time. And he's about to execute Order 66. Right? Okay? Another movie line, man. Hey, you get a lot out of movies, man. Art imitates life. Fact is stranger than fiction. And then you can bring in predictive programming, and you can also bring in revelation of the method. Okay? What did I just was going to get? It lost. Let me see here. What did I just say I was going to get? Purpose to overthrow my goings. What was it? Oh man, I wanted to get that. What was it? It ran away when I wasn't looking. Oh man, I wanted to get that. Let me see if I can remember it. I'm gonna pause. Hold on a second. I can't remember, and I don't want to take any longer trying to remember. We're at an hour and a half, and that's good. That's too wild. So anyway, I don't know if I said the address. If I said the address, you can look it up. But I need to wrap up. So with that, we're gonna continue with the Joel 2 and the Revelation 14 and whatever other precepts I have, and then we're gonna get back to the first topic that we were getting into. All of it going into end time biblical prophecies and the end of the world. And with that, we're gonna need to go to the Genesis 27 we were just touching on, and then on our way over to Revelation 13, we're gonna make a pit stop in Habakkuk 2. And as long as the Spirit doesn't give me anything more, that will be the end of this lesson series. All right. And so with that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Before I do, want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shabbat, Rechak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and respect to the brothers teaching, pushing this truth out the four corners of the earth. Adawan Radazah, this lesson was edifying and encouraging to you, Achim, and any Achwaf that may be listening and or watching. Ayashmi Akunah, Azanim Shamai Shamai. Let him who has ears to hear. Kwam Yasharala, Baba Kwasha, Abad Baba Aitha, Wakal Adawam. Shalom Lahabacharium, peace to the elect. Yahweh Bahashim Al Shabbat, Barakathum to you all. Shalom.